guys? Welcome back to episode 6 or 7. I'm not sure. I think it's 6 of D3 Dropouts. I'm your host, Brendan Hands. I'm here with my co-host, Connor. It's been quite a little bit of a break. I didn't get the last videos out on accident. It was we did them last minute, so they never got out. But this one will be going out. So this will be our first, I guess, real look at March Madness for our fans. We had a lot of games this weekend, a lot of games last weekend, big games in particular. Do you want to just jump right into it? Actually, how are you?
Yeah, no, I was waiting for a little introduction there. I'm good. You know, baseball's coming back this week. You got the pinstripes going. I love it.
Absolutely.
Support the Yankees, my second favorite team in all of baseball. But yeah, I'm doing all right. You know, had a nice weekend. You know, it's a Monday. Oh, just grinding on the school stuff still. You know, doing my thing.
Almost done, right?
Almost done. I got about a month. So
that's crazy to think about, dude. It feels like just yesterday, like you were a senior in high school when I was a freshman.
Yeah, not to age myself, but yeah, it feels like I'm getting older every day, and joining the adult world is scary. But, you know, I like to come back and shoot the shit with you and talk basketball, so let's get into that.
Absolutely. So we'll just start off with, I guess, the top of the bracket. Gonzaga, Oklahoma. That game was actually closer than I thought it was going to be. I honestly thought Gonzaga was going to Gonzaga Creighton. My bad, not Gonzaga Oklahoma. That's a miss.
That was the last game.
Yeah, that's a misread on me. That game was not close at all.
No.
Creighton looked like they gave up about 3 to 4 minutes into the second half when they realized they had no chance.
Yeah.
Did you have any thoughts on that?
I only watched a little bit of the game. Gonzaga is my team to win it. And they've kind of played like it. Baylor's played well too. They haven't really had a challenge yet, but like those are clearly the two best teams in the country, and they've played like it in the tournament. It's kind of those two and everyone else. I know we'll get into Baylor a little later. But yeah, Gonzaga looks unstoppable, 29-0 now going into the Elite Eight. They play today, I believe. Today's Monday morning.
Yep.
It's 7 o'clock and a 9. Yeah. Oh, sorry. They play tomorrow.
Today's the 29th, so
they play USC tomorrow.
Okay.
USC is a great story. The Pac-12 has overperformed a lot.
Heavily overperformed.
And the Big Ten's been like
trash
this morning, like shitting out of my asshole every 30 seconds. That's what Big Ten teams are coming out of my butt. It seems like, and they're not real poops. They're loosey gooseys.
I understand that. Yeah, it's go ahead.
But yeah, Gonzaga's hasn't had a challenge yet. It's hard to believe. You know, maybe previewing today's or tomorrow's game, I think they're gonna roll again. It's gonna be them and Baylor, barring a unforeseen circumstance, which this tournament has had a lot of. So.
Yep. And then just get right into you said they play USC. I think USC handled Oregon well. I honestly thought Oregon. I had Oregon in my bracket. Winning this game, and it was fully commanded by USC till the end. So that was
like I said, the Pac-12 surprising how well they've played. There's another one I'd like to talk about that happened yesterday. We can get into that in a little bit, but yeah, I kind of said going into it that like when you have, obviously, Cade Cunningham and Oklahoma State ended up being a bad example because I thought they'd do well because they did have the best player in the tournament pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But when you got a top 5 pick, like those kinds of guys, those elite draft lottery guys in the next draft, you to me, you always have a chance, you know, even though like, yes, USC plays in a weaker conference, or at least we thought the Pac-12 was a weaker conference. Yes, they're a 6 seed. Yes, they've kind of been mediocre, I guess, for their standards. But when you have a top 5 pick like they do, like going into this year's draft, you're always in it, I think, especially in March when you never know what's going to.
They have those two brothers. I think the Mobley brothers. Yep. Evan Mobley is going to be a top 5 pick for sure.
That's who I was talking about. Yeah.
And then his brother's not horrible either. They're the two studs on that team to me.
Yeah.
Rolling
Are
right down. I think so.
Okay.
Or actually, yeah, I think so. That'll be that. I could look that up after when we start talking about this next game. Michigan handled Florida State convincingly. That was great. I watched that whole game. It was a great game. I think Michigan, the guys said it at halftime, but Michigan is looking just like they were looking with Livers, if not better, which is good for them.
Yeah, it's a little surprising. I mean, I think a lot of people, even I thought, yes, Michigan is definitely the third best team this year. I think it is Gonzaga, Baylor, and then you take a step back and it's Michigan.
Yep.
But they're definitely that third team, I think, and they've kind of proved it in the tournament. And I think everyone thought, when you have a senior leader who's arguably, probably your second best player, in my opinion, besides Dickinson.
Yep.
But how would that come to play in March? Especially to me, it's not even the school; it's the senior leadership when they do have a pretty young core. Not a lot of seniors on that team. So like the way they've played, they obviously took care of Florida State. Florida State played one of that worst halves.
Yeah, horrible.
That was like me in like a rec basketball game in high school. Like I didn't even know where to go. I was just running circles and hoping that someone tossed me the ball every once in a while. Actually, you know what? I didn't even want the ball. I was just kind of just running around trying to avoid the basketball. That's kind of how Florida State looked in the first half. And they did. I mean, it got up to 17 and then Florida State had it to 5. I was in and out of being asleep that entire game, to be honest.
But you're right. The lowest, the closest they ever got it was 5. So
yeah, I remember it being down to 5. So like Florida State put up a fight, but I think Michigan just being a better team. And like Michigan, like we'll get into UCLA or Florida State, sorry, like UCLA, they can shoot. Like they're good. It's a good 3-point shooting team.
They had a bad day.
Yeah, when you got shooters like that, yeah, exactly. You have a bad day, but you're never necessarily out of the game. Like it was like UCLA in the first 4 game when State was up 11 at the half. I was like, they're not out of the game because they got 3 guys that can shoot it better than anyone else on Michigan State. That's kind of how Florida State was. Yep. And they did end up getting it down to 5, but like obviously I think the more talented Michigan team was able to weather the storm, so to speak.
And just real quick, while we're still on the Michigan game, I think that Eli Brooks, I mean, he was good during the season, but Eli Brooks and I think it's Brandon Johns, junior or senior, or not senior, it would be junior. They've stepped up huge. Because without, like, for example, if Oklahoma State went into this tournament without Cade Cunningham, there's a chance they don't make it past the first round.
Yeah.
Like they did. So, I mean, I guess the stepping up is huge, and they've done it. So we'll see. It would be sweet to see them play Gonzaga in the Final Four.
So who do they play tomorrow?
They play UCLA.
We get into that game?
Yeah, we're getting into the UCLA-Alabama game. Just real quick, I wanted to say Alabama in the game before scored almost 100 points.
Yeah.
And they handled Maryland very well.
The best 3-point shooting team in the country.
Yep. And then they came into this game and it almost looked like, I don't want to say they were tired, but they looked a little bit tired. The defense was sluggish. They weren't shooting as well as they normally do. They didn't look like they were playing as a team almost.
They shot below 50% from the free throw line, which is Andre Drummond embarrassing. So
you can't do that.
Embarrassing. It was like they put Shaq up to the rim and just put a lid on the rim. Like that's it. I literally could go into that game and probably shoot better than they did as a team.
Yes.
And I'm a 5'8" little kid that's never played organized basketball in my life.
So they did get it down to the end and they hit that 3 to go into OT. And I thought the OT, I was like, that pumps players up. Plus they were the team that hit the buzzer beater. They had all the momentum going into OT and UCLA ran away with it.
Yeah, it was surprising. I was sitting there watching the game with my roommates and they're like, it's after the buzzer beater. It's like, well, this game's over. Alabama won. Like, how do you come back from that?
Exactly.
Something being so high and we're going to win. And then something so drastic and dramatic happening to keep the game going. Not even that like they lost, but you have to go out there in 30 seconds and go play that team again for 5 more minutes. That's tough to do. Mm-hmm. And I think that speaks to this whole run that UCLA's had and that there's always usually a first 4 team that makes it to the Sweet 16, but to go further than that is a great thing on UCLA, and the Pac-12 in general is, again, just rolling.
And so that brings us to a question that I wrote down that I'm sure is asked every tournament. And most of the time the answer is no. Do you think UCLA might have been a little misseeded?
Yeah, actually, there's kind of been a lot of that.
Yep.
In that they fit, like, there's kind of, because there wasn't as much, like, non-conference play per se, not nearly as much as normal because of the virus, obviously.
Yeah.
That a lot of teams are kind of like underseeded, like Loyola. Loyola was a top 25 team for most of the season, and they were an 8 seed. Like,
Yeah.
why it was the second most first round upsets of all time, which is crazy. Obviously, so many years in the tournament, this is the second most upsets that we've seen, and I think that is because it was harder to seed, and that the conspiracy is that like they did this on purpose because to make it crazier for the whole effect of it.
Yeah. Especially not having the tournament last year. I guess that what you said makes sense, that they would do it for the excitement.
Like Oklahoma State was a top 10 team at the end of the year. They gave them a 4. Loyola was an 8. LSU was a 9. Like,
yep. Kansas, I think, and even seeds that were higher up probably should have been, like, Kansas was not good at all this year. They were a 3 seed. I think Ohio played amazing all year. I mean, obviously, you have to take into effect conference, but I think Ohio, they were a 13, I think.
Yeah.
That was I think that was missed seed. So there's a bunch of them. But Michigan, UCLA, that is tomorrow.
No, it's tomorrow.
That'll be a good game.
Yeah.
I'll be watching that one for sure. So moving down, Baylor Villanova. I don't know if you watched that at all. Did you?
No, I didn't.
So Baylor won. Villanova actually kept it close until obviously they had to start fouling, and Baylor kind of went up. But I had Villanova beating them, first of all.
Interesting.
I'll tell you why. 2 things. One, Baylor. I think Baylor like kind of came out of nowhere this year. Because the last couple years, if you look at the last couple of years of their records, like they didn't go deep in the tournament and they weren't amazing.
Last year they were a top like 10 team though.
Okay.
But before that, you're right. They've never been like a juggernaut like that.
Yeah. Did they hire a new coach, or is it been the same coach?
I have no idea.
Because go ahead.
I think they're just very old. Like they had the past 2 years, they've had a lot of juniors and seniors and a good recruiting class or 2 in there. So.
Yeah. The other thing I was just going to say, the reason I asked about the coaching is because I think Villanova's coach, I'm not sure of his name, but he's a good coach.
Right.
Yeah. He's been in these tournaments and these games before. I thought the experience coaching wise would help him, but I guess not. So.
Yeah, I don't think they had the team this year. It's nowhere near one of the better Villanova teams. I think you're right. That's a good rationale, is that like Jay Wright has been a team, made back-to-back national championships. Won one of them, right? Or did he win both of them?
They won. Well, they won one against North Carolina.
One against Michigan.
Yeah, and one against.
Yeah.
Was it?
Freshman year, so like 2017, 2018.
Was it them who beat Michigan?
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
First time. I'm the one that's now like, wow, the Trey Burke is like 8 years ago.
Yeah, that's a long. That makes me feel old, and I'm not old at all. So
it's like that was like 2013, I think. 2012 even. I don't remember. All I remember from that run is Trey Burke hitting that long 3
against Kansas. Yep,
that's a Final Four.
That's and they lost that too. Didn't they lose that game?
Oh, they lost to Louisville. That's who they lost to.
Yep. So that, and then, I mean, Michigan, if you look back, Michigan's been in a couple, like, they lost to Louisville, then they lost to Villanova, and then they lost in the Final Four to Texas Tech. They've never been
That was Michigan State.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Never mind that. Scratch that.
But yeah, they've made the Sweet 16 the last 4 years, or the last 4 tournaments, and they're the only team that's done that. So
yeah,
you want to talk about Michigan State being a blue blood? Michigan's creeped. I think
they're more of a common era blue blood. Michigan is.
Pause for a second in that, like, the Tom Izzo Michigan State era as a Michigan State fan is, and if I'm as a Michigan State fan, I'm terrified of what Juwan Howard has done at Michigan in Ann Arbor. Like, they've become they've kind of, I guess, they haven't really dominated head-to-head Michigan State in the 2 years that Juwan's been there. But Juwan, great recruiting class this freshman year with Hunter Dickinson. Next year, he's got the #1 recruiting class in the country coming in. if I'm a big man, I want to play for Juwan Howard, 5'5", Final Four national champion, like NBA guy, has coached in the NBA. Like, I want to play for that guy. I want to play for Juwan. If I'm a big guy, that's the name that I want to play for.
Yep.
At a school that I want to play at.
He's
So,
building a.
he's building a blue blood, and if it's a more new age style of coaching and recruiting that Juwan does, and Tom Izzo, I think we've seen in the last couple of years, I wouldn't say is outdated, but is going on that way. And it's clear that he's on his way out. And I think as he gets on his way out and becomes especially once he's gone, like what happens next? Because it's already right now that Michigan's the better team and has been for the last couple of years. So like what happens when you're big name coach, like you think of coaches in the NCAA, you think of Coach K, you think of Jim Boeheim, you think of Roy Williams, and you think of Tom Izzo. I mean, obviously you think of John Calipari and
but those names alone within themselves pull recruits.
Exactly. So what happens when Izzo's already starting to lose his recruiting battle for the first time ever in his time between Michigan and Michigan State?
Mm-hmm.
On his way out, I mean, he's 66 years old now. I wouldn't be surprised if he's done when Steve Izzo's done.
So do you think? So Steve Izzo's a year older than me. So do you think before I graduate, he's out of there?
I'm saying he's gone in 3 to 4 years. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. I didn't even think about that. But
and once that name is gone, and you're already losing that battle, to emphasize my point is how then Michigan is royalty.
Yep.
Michigan gets everybody.
Yep. Sorry, I got a text. Arkansas, Oral Roberts. We'll just keep moving on. Arkansas, Oral Roberts. Arkansas won. Did you watch the end of that game?
Yes, I did.
My brain kind of all mixes the games together, but if I'm not mistaken, Oral Roberts had a chance to win it. They had the three.
Yeah, that A. Smith guy had an open three to win the game.
And he was a pretty decent 3-point shooter. I looked at the stats after the game because they were talking about how they were very surprised he missed that. And he was a stud 3-point shooter.
Yeah, that's got to be one of the better tournament runs we've seen in a while. A 15 seed like that did what they did against Ohio State, and then Florida. They actually kind of dummied Florida.
Yeah.
And to have a shot at the end against a 3 seed like Arkansas, that's one that you'll remember. I mean, I think the last 15 seed to go Sweet 16 was that Florida Gulf Coast team.
Yep.
And that was when I was 8th or 9th grade. So that's 20. I think
that was a long time ago.
This year, Michigan made the finals.
So
Burke year.
I
don't know if they get remembered quite as dumb because Florida Gulf Coast had the coach with the model wife and they were the dunk city throwing up lobs so they were remembered they're still remembered. I don't quite know if they're going to be put on that same train of remembrance. And maybe just because Oral Roberts is such a silly name.
Yeah, and it's a smaller school. Just thinking Florida Gulf Coast, I would have heard of them probably before they ever did that.
Yeah, they're a well-known party school.
Yeah. So another question I have for you, kind of like the other one, but not really. Just effort-wise, and the way that since Arkansas was a 3 seed, they were one of the top teams in the country all year. Oral Roberts hung in with them. I think effort-wise, Oral Roberts deserved to win this game. Would you say so? That was my question. Would you say so? Sorry.
No, yeah. I mean, yeah. I think you can't just say Arkansas didn't put forth
No, I'm not saying they didn't put forth the effort, but effort-wise, for a 15 seed to come in there and hang that tight with a 3 seed, they deserve to win.
At this point though, it's the Sweet 16. You're in the second week of the tournament. You have to be playing Oral Roberts is playing good basketball to get there, obviously. Yeah. So they're it's not they're I don't know. It to me, when you get to March in the tournament, you just never know. And everyone's playing at their best, and otherwise they wouldn't have gotten to that point to where it's hard to say that Arkansas on paper is much more talented, but the way the two teams are playing right now, it wasn't necessarily going to be a barn burner for Arkansas.
So, like you were saying, you never know, especially this year. I've just found myself kind of not even second guessing my picks because it's after you make the picks, but just sitting in awe after the games. Like, wow, I can't believe that just happened. One of the games, we'll just move on to kind of a good transition that I was talking about, is the Oregon State game. I thought they played Loyola Chicago very well.
Yeah. That was I watched the beginning of that, and that looked like there were like they put like lids on the rims for both teams because it was like ridiculous. Like the amount you could build like Tom Brady's next mansion in Tampa with that many bricks.
It was bad. Which again goes back to if Loyola Chicago shot as good as they did all season and played as well as they did in the against Illinois, that game probably goes a lot differently.
Yeah, I think they're tricky because again, they're my biggest example of they were an 8 seed, but they were like a top 20 team for like 2/3 of the season. Like they easily could have been a 4 or a 5.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. Like you said, I think they obviously, or like I said, not you, but obviously they take into account conference,
Sure.
Which I think they should start to not do away with, but like recognize a little less, especially after this year and the way teams have been playing. Like the Pac-12, I was talking to Jacob about this the other day, and I'll just bring it up since we're talking about college basketball. Everyone all season, even us, was talking about Big Ten this, Big Ten that. Big Ten's the best conference. Nobody maybe ever sat back and thought maybe the Big Ten's not as good as everyone thinks. They're just all like on that lower level, and they're playing each other. So the games were so you never know. But
yeah, and this year with like I mean obviously like most of the Big Ten teams played some non-conference, but like with less of that, it's even harder to tell.
Yeah.
It's even harder to make those comparisons. I don't think the Pac-12 played any. I may be wrong with this. Played any non-conference because a lot of the West Coast was shut down.
Pick a team. Pick a team from the Pac-12. I'll look it up.
UCLA. They went 17-9 and we're an 11 seed. So like.
So they played. All right, come on. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Okay, got it. So they played. Yeah, so they were 4th in the Pac-12. They won the tournament.
Yep.
21-9, like you said. They played Michigan State. That was the
tournament game.
Oh, you're right. Holy shit. I got to go down. Sorry about that. Let's see. San Diego State.
That's non-conference.
Pepperdine, that's non-conference.
Yeah, okay. So they did.
So they weren't like, it wasn't teams like from the Big Ten. The only non-conference that they played from the Big Ten was Ohio State, and they lost. Ooh. Yeah, and then from there on, it's all Pac-12.
Yeah. So not nearly as only 4 games. That's much less than normal.
Yeah. I think. See, I don't know. Now I'm looking at like the way they played some of these teams on their schedule, and I think that this Michigan game might be better than people are thinking it's going to be.
Oh, I think it's going to be a great game.
Yep.
I think it's a wrong time to play UCLA. They're arguably one of the hottest teams in the tournament right now.
Agreed. And they came off of I think that stems from maybe them coming off of the conference tournament win too, maybe a little bit. So moving on, we said Oregon State. They will be playing Houston, who I'm just going to be honest. I thought Houston was one of the weaker 2 seeds coming into this tournament.
Yeah.
I thought they had the chance to get upset. Then when they played Rutgers, I thought Rutgers really had a chance to win. Like, for real, I was rooting for Rutgers down to the wire. Against Syracuse, that was the first game I think they came out and they were, like, making a statement. It was 62-46.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
My one thing with Houston, I think Syracuse was hard. The worst thing that could have happened to Syracuse was they had to take the week off. You know what I mean? Because they shot the rock. Buddy Boeheim, like they were shooting it so like ridiculously hot in the first 2 games.
Yep.
And they came out and put up 42 points. Like that's with 42. Let me check the score.
It was 62-46.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's not good. And I mean, like you said, the defensive part. I don't think in the tournament I watched basically all the games that I could, and which basically all of them. Houston has not played amazing defense until that game.
not only have they not played amazing defense, but they're gonna go. They could, like, if say they win tonight, they would make the Final Four without playing a single-digit seed.
That's
They
true.
played a 15 seed, a 10 seed, an 11 seed, and they're playing a 12
seed.
Yeah.
And then that game, what was that? Oh, my NFL.com is playing music in my head. I was like, what the fuck was that? So yeah, now see, it's just so hard to tell. Like, even if you like thought about it, how the way they played in the tournament, you can't. It's so hard to tell. Who do you got that game though?
I like Houston. I mean, I haven't really, to be honest, watched much of the Oregon State games. Obviously, they're a 12 seed that got there. They're another Pac-12 team that's just hot and obviously plays a Power 5 schedule. So, like, Houston will be nothing new to them. But I'm sticking with the 2 seed. I actually didn't hate Houston. Like, I don't think anybody had Houston going as an 8, like, to the Elite 8, even as a 2 seed.
Yeah.
And I did, just because I had watched them play good basketball throughout the year.
Okay.
I'm going to pick Houston.
I'm also going to go with Houston, but for a different reason. I think it's because they're rolling off this win, and I think the defense is stepping it up big time. And their coach is probably now going to start emphasizing, like, guys, if you just play one more game of defense like you did against Syracuse, you're in the Final Four. And that motivates guys.
Yeah. I do think Oregon State covers, though, plus 7.5. I think it's going to be a close game.
Okay. I think that's all the games.
Yep.
And then, so we didn't really make our picks, so we'll go back up. Baylor, Arkansas, who you got?
Baylor, Arkansas, I have Baylor.
Baylor, okay. I like the Muss Bus. That their coach is, Arkansas's coach is like Muscle Man is his last name. So I'm going to ride with the Muss Bus into the Final Four. I'm going with Arkansas. I think it's a very close game, though. Michigan, UCLA. I got Michigan.
I mean, I guess I have to stick to my bracket, right? So
you don't have to. I mean, I don't even know who I have in my bracket, but
I had Michigan in the Final Four.
Okay. So yeah, Michigan.
I'm going to take UCLA.
Oh, okay. Yep. Okay.
I think this is where they get exposed for not having Livers in the lineup.
That's a very good point.
And I think UCLA is going to shoot the lights out. Jusang and the other guy with the headband, I can't say his name. They're going to get it done. That's all.
Okay. And then Gonzaga, USC. As much as I like the way USC's been playing, I think Gonzaga is an overpowered team right now, especially the way they're playing. So
give me Gonzaga by like 300. I love the Zags. They're still winning a national championship.
Okay. So you're still riding with the Zags for the national championship.
I'm still riding with the Zags. They've done
nothing
but impress me.
That's fair. So that's that. Those are our 8 teams left. We were going to touch on, I believe, the NFL preseason real quick, or not preseason, post free agency preseason rankings. Just really quick, we'll talk about it, break it down. So number 1, Chiefs.
Yep.
Not sure I agree with that, but
why?
Dude, Tampa Bay signed everybody back. Listen to me. Just hear me out.
But Tampa, you got to remember.
They signed everybody back, though.
Back doesn't mean shit to me. Doesn't mean actual shit. It's a new season.
Okay, that's fair.
You don't get any, you're looking at a team that simply played they played the Redskins. They played a dead Drew Brees, and then the Packers. The Packers win was impressive, but you're looking at a team that was a wild card team in the regular season. And to me, I don't think the Saints are going to be that bad. I don't they play in a good. I think the Falcons will be better. They're not the best. They weren't the best team last year. They were the best team at the right time.
Yep. Okay, that's fair. Number 2, Tampa Bay, up from number 4. That was this. They're comparing it to the last rankings before free agency and now. So they're up from 4 to 2. Not much to say on them. We kind of just talked about that.
Yeah,
they did re-sign Godwin, Gronkowski, Brady, Sue. Who else? Shaquille Barrett. So, I mean,
I think they're a top 6 team. I don't think they're the second best team.
Okay, that's fair. Number 3, who arguably could be reversed with number 2 now that I'm looking at it. I haven't looked at these yet. The Packers. They go ahead. Yeah.
The Packers still have a lot of holes in my opinion, but when you have Aaron Rodgers, you got a chance. I think the NFC North is going to be better this year. Actually, I don't. I take that back.
The only
team that's going to be better, I think, is Minnesota. I think the Bears are going to be worse.
I think the Lions have a chance to be better. You don't think so?
No.
I don't like Goff.
The Lions are actively tanking. Right?
I don't like Jared Goff. So, number 4, the Bills, who arguably are another team you could switch up there.
I like that.
Yeah.
I actually like the Bills more than the Packers, I think.
I love the Bills. I'm a big Bills guy. Their division's
going to get a little tougher, too.
Yes.
Patriots are going to be better.
Yep.
Well, the Jets still suck.
And they're going to continue to suck probably for a while.
Yeah, but I still like that division.
Okay.
I still like the Bills, but I think there will be a little bit more of a challenge on the schedule this year.
The next one, the Ravens.
I don't like the Ravens.
They made moves though in the free agency.
Who'd they get?
They re-signed they signed. So let me see. It's got their big moves listed here. They signed a new guard, which will just more protection for Lamar to do what he does. Let's see what else we got here. That's all they have written down. Never mind.
All right. Well, I still think they're a good team. I simply don't think that they're a Super Bowl contender with Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson is a slightly above average quarterback. I don't think he's good enough to win a Super Bowl.
Okay. Which is, I actually agree with you, but for most people, I think that would be a hot take. I think there's people who are high on Lamar being.
Yeah, there's a lot of hype behind him.
So next they have, and this is, I don't like this next one. The Rams.
What are we at? 5?
6. That's too high. All because of Matthew Stafford.
That's.
Here's my comparison that I'll make. Jared Goff, 26 years old, first round draft pick, first number 1 overall draft pick, just like Stafford, took the Rams to a Super Bowl. Didn't win, but took them to a Super Bowl. What has Stafford done?
That's tough, though. The Rams had a top 5 defense in the end. They had Aaron Donald, the best defensive player. They had Todd Gurley when Todd Gurley was going in his prime. They had Cooper Kupp. Like, when has Stafford ever been gifted with that?
That's true.
My thing is, like, on paper now, the Rams are the contender. They're better than the Seahawks in that division now. The problem is they play in arguably the toughest division in football. Like, the 49ers were absolute, like, a graveyard last year of injuries. They're going to be much better. They were in the Super Bowl the year before.
Yep.
They're going to be much better. Seattle's a playoff team. Arizona, J.J. Watt now is a borderline playoff team. Like, that's arguably the toughest division in football.
So now one thing I'll say is I think Arizona's got to work on their offense if they want to be a contender.
Yeah,
I think their
Kyler
defense
Murray
is set now, but Kyler Murray's
he needs to take a step up. It's kind of Lamar to me. I don't think he's bad. I don't think they're a contender with him until he takes a step up.
I don't think he's, and I would even go as far as to say I don't even think he's as good as Lamar, which is saying something.
I don't know. I think he is better than Lamar.
2 different types of playing, by the way, I think, for a little bit playing. Because Lamar does a lot with his legs. Kyler can do both, but I think Kyler likes to do like the run and pass more. So
I think they're compared to each other a little too much. Their games aren't quite as similar as people make it out to be.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Number 7, I actually kind of like this. The Browns. I know you're not a huge Browns guy.
Browns are tough. I think Baker's got to be better. I think maybe Odell healthy. They showed a lot at the end of the year.
Landry healthy, right? He wasn't healthy for a
that
while.
Win against the Steelers has to put him ahead of the Steelers. But I don't know. I like this. I can think of a couple of teams that I like more than them. I like to see.
Their big move in the offseason was signing John Johnson III to a 3-year, $33 million contract. He's a safety, by the way. $24 million guaranteed, which means they're expecting him to perform.
Another tough division, though. Like, you have to play the Steelers and the Ravens. Like,
I think the Steelers aren't going to be as good this year.
I don't either, but they're like the Steelers to me are still a team that's going to win at least 9 games. The Baltimore Ravens are going to win 9 games. The Bengals, hopefully Joe Burrow's back. They'll at least be like competitive.
Oh, I forgot about them. Yeah, I forgot about the Bengals. Which, if Joe Burrow comes back healthy and the Bengals do the smart thing and maybe draft a lineman,
I don't think they're anywhere near a playoff team, but I think they're more competitive with him in the lineup.
Yeah, totally.
They can play spoilers.
8. We got the Titans.
I like that. I like the Titans.
Titans they're up from 10. No.
Can Ryan Tannehill continue to just do what he's done the last 2 years is my only question with them.
And I mean, did you see the one video that's going viral of Derrick Henry doing push-ups on like the rubber band bar?
No, but like
he's a monster, bro. I'm gonna insert that clip in the video. He's a monster.
Here's a question. I've talked about this with people before. Who do you think? Say you, me, and Big Spence lined up against Derrick Henry or Lamar Jackson. Who are we tackling first?
You mean which one?
Yeah.
So that's two different two different reasons you're asking that question.
Exactly.
Now. One's because of speed. One's because of just fucking monsterness.
Yeah, but who would we? Derrick Henry's way faster than us too. I think we tackle Lamar first.
Yes, I agree with that. Not even
guys we could use. He would run by us 1-on-1, but we could like cut down a part of the field and angle him like into a spot where we could tackle him.
Yeah, see, and even if you got Derrick Henry wrapped up, those fucking quads, bro.
I don't think the 3 of us jumped on his back. I still don't think
He would carry us. He would 100% carry us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with that. I think Lamar, I agree with that. Seattle moving down from 8 to number 9. Okay. I think like the reason that, I mean, and he didn't actually come out and say it, but he said it in a podcast, kind of hinted towards it, that he wanted to be traded. And I'm pretty sure the reason he wanted to be traded is because of his like the inability to block for him. So that'll be their biggest. It says the biggest offseason move is trying to manage their pass rush. And that just kind of got me thinking about how Russell Wilson said he doesn't like to get hit.
I don't like to get hit either.
No, obviously not, but he's an NFL quarterback. Like he's football, part of the game is being hit.
Yeah, I know. He gets paid millions of dollars to get hit. I don't.
Yeah. So I don't understand. I understand, but I also don't. Because like when you say you don't like to get hit, people take that literally. There's a literal sense, and then there's the sense like, okay, maybe they should block for you a little better.
Yeah, but to me, it's like, where's he gonna go? Like, there's so many places that need a quarterback right now that are like in that 6-10 to 10-6 range right now. There's really only like 2 or 3 teams that are legit Super Bowl contenders, I would say, and they don't need a quarterback. Those teams are contenders because they don't need a quarterback.
In fact, let's just talk about this right now because I thought this was kind of funny. On to your point about where would he go? Chicago Bears. This is totally kind of how about them just tickling the balls of their fan group and then or fan base and then just like dropping them, being like, nope, just kidding.
That was
Andy Dalton.
That was an absolute tease. No foreplay, no lube included. And you're rumored to get Russell Wilson, a top 4 or 5 quarterback in this league, and then you go out and get a guy that was a backup last year to replace Mitchell Trubisky.
And so then the question becomes, would you? So obviously this isn't a scenario, but would you rather right now with the Bears team that you know of in mind? I mean, obviously we're not huge Bears fans, but like with sufficient knowledge of the Bears, would you rather Andy Dalton or Mitchell Trubisky?
Trubisky.
Exactly. I agree with that 100%.
I don't think they get any better by making Andy Dalton.
I think they might get worse.
See, maybe you get a little more consistency. Like Andy Dalton has never been like complete trash. Like Trubisky has shown signs of just being like an absolute recycling bin.
But wasn't Andy Dalton for most of his career? Wasn't he with the Bengals?
Correct. Yeah.
They were never amazing.
No, they made the playoffs a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's not used to that winning culture. Obviously, neither is Trubisky, but
I was gonna
Trubisky's
say.
younger too.
I don't know. You made the playoffs with Trubisky. You did the whole Foles thing last year. To me, it's like, come on, man. Stop making these lateral moves. You're just paying more money to just go like in the same direction you're going.
I think they're paying for a name at this point.
Yeah. You didn't get any better. You just paid to like put a new name on top of Mitch Trubisky, essentially.
Yeah, I agree. So then the other question was Foles or Dalton?
Dalton.
Dalton? Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. So moving on, number 10, Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
Which I agree with. I like that.
Yep.
They got Carson Wentz now. They got what's his name?
I think they could make some noise.
The running back, not Marlon Mack, the other one. Whatever his name is. They have two really good running backs.
Jonathan Taylor?
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor.
And Naheem Hines.
And yeah. So you know what? They got a good team. And they were up from 15 to 10 just from that Carson Wentz trade. So obviously it's still early to be like relying on these, but I like to talk about this. Yeah. 11, your boys, the Steelers. I don't know why I said your boys, but
I think that's exactly where they should be.
Yeah, that's good. Next, the Cardinals with two huge. They got Prater and JJ Watt.
Yeah.
Prater holds a dear spot in my heart. I'm gonna miss him.
I'm gonna miss his drunk ass.
Yeah, I was just gonna say taking a shot before he goes to kick a field goal. San Francisco is at 13. Not much to talk about there.
I think they were just such a Band-Aid last year. It's just very, very hard to say.
Like you said earlier, injuries. When all those players are healthy, it's a totally different team. Dolphins at 14.
I don't know about that. They could go like.
They could get hot. Yeah,
they have two. Yeah, I don't know. The Dolphins are a huge question mark. Depends on what they do with the draft.
They got Tua. They just signed Will Fuller, who's arguably a top 10 wide receiver.
Yeah.
Who was the other guy? Also, when we get to this team, I'll talk about this, so I won't say anything.
Are we doing all 32 teams?
Yeah, but let's just go. I'll go quicker.
Okay.
15, the Vikings.
Yeah, I think they could be better.
16, the Saints. I don't know about that one.
I think they're just going to be middle of the pack. I think that's fair, to be honest.
Chargers at 17. I think that's a little lowballing them for the way that what's his name played. Or not. Yeah.
17, that puts him at 7 and 9, 8 and 8. I just still don't think as good as he was last year. Herbert was last year. I don't think they're going to be any better than that. So
okay. Yeah, it's fair. Dallas Cowboys at 18. It's fair. I think
another team. Well, that's a playoff team right now.
Yeah, but if all their players are healthy for the full season, that's a juggernaut of a team.
I don't know if it's a juggernaut, but it's the best team in the NFC East by far.
That's fair. Patriots at 19.
Yep, I think they could be better though. I think they could be they could be a fringe top 10 team.
Vegas at 20. That's
also a team that could be better. I feel like they underperform every year, to be honest.
The Giants, their big move. They're at 21. Their big move was
my underwear on camera.
I was wondering what you were doing. Their big move was signing Kenny Galladay.
Yep. I think they're 5 and 11 again.
So yeah, after here it's just we'll go quick. 22 is the football team. Washington. 23 is the Panthers. I agree with most of these. That's why I said we'll go quick. 24 is the Falcons.
Yeah, I could see the Falcons being a little better, but yeah.
They're big choke artists.
Yeah.
25, the Bears. 26, the Eagles. Oh, boy. I already see where this one's ending up. 27, the Broncos. 28, the Bengals, who hired a new offensive line coach, by the way. 29, the Jets. 30, the Jags. I know, bro. I was not expecting this. 31, the Lions. And
who's
32, the Texans.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to think the Lions are going to be better than the Jaguars and Jets, though.
Yeah, no, I agree. But since I said we'll wait till we got to this team, and they're the last team, so that works out well. Wrap up the NFL with this little snippet. 2 things on the Texans. One on Deshaun and all those lawsuits, and the other on the actual Texans team. So I'll start with the actual Texans team. They have refused to trade Deshaun Watson for months now.
Yeah.
For months now. They have also made countless amounts of whether it was from not signing free agents back on or trades, they've traded away a lot of players around Deshaun.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed that, but I saw that.
Yeah, they're actively tanking.
Yeah. And that just goes to kind of linking the two. Do you think they're punishing Deshaun?
For wanting a trade, essentially?
Yeah. Basically like saying, hey, you came out and made this huge ruckus about wanting to trade. We're going to trade everybody around you and tank.
I think they're just one of the worst front offices in the history of sports.
That's awesome.
They actually think that, like, Deshaun, like, this is, like, good for Deshaun. That they keep him, they suck for another 2 or 3 years, and then Deshaun's 29 and they're all of a sudden, like, good again. Like, I think they actually think that's what's going to happen. It's clearly not. I think the only people that don't understand that are the Houston Texans.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And so then you said it, obviously, moving on to Deshaun. This is kind of, we have to be light-footed with how we talk about this, but I do want to talk about it at least. 14 sexual assault, sexual misconduct lawsuits coming at him. And so I'll say my piece and then I'll ask you about it. Usually when there's smoke, I took this from a radio show, by the way. I heard this. When there's smoke, a lot of it right now, there's fire, even a little bit of fire, meaning all these lawsuits, at least a couple of them are probably true. But there's also, we're in this culture where, and take this with a grain of salt. I might not put this in, but I'm going to say it anyways. We're also in this culture where people feel bad about what they do, or they feel shitty about. So let's just say, for example, the masseuse from the team. She feels shitty about what she did, and she kind of considers it sexual misconduct or sexual assault. But in reality, maybe he didn't do anything wrong. Now, I'm not saying that's what I think. I think this dude's a scumbag, by the way. 14 though, what do you think about that? That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. And from such like a superstar name that, like, usually when shady stuff is going down with such a superstar, the agent, the Deshaun Watson's camp, so to speak, the Texans are able to hide it with a big name like that for a while. So the fact that there's 14 allegations and that it's become public now makes me think the worst, to be honest.
I mean, I didn't even think about the fact that they could have been holding that information for a while. Maybe that's why there's so many of them at this one time.
Yeah, and
because it only takes one.
I do agree. We live in a time kind of now where, like, it's guilty until proven innocent in a lot of cases. Mm-hmm. That, like, you're canceled before being able to, like,
especially when we're talking about this, like sexual misconduct and stuff like that.
Yeah, before you're able to, like, before they're able to be dismissed as not true, so to speak. Not, again, my only thing is that, like, when you have such a superstar with this many allegations and they all come out at one time, it's clear that something was being hidden for a while, and that's why they all came out at once, which makes me believe bad things about that happened that Deshaun Watson did. So.
Yeah. And so then the closing piece on this would be, if these are true, or even a couple of them are true, do you think that this might be the end?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, that's fair.
I think the best example of that is Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, he's had many sexual assault things been proven, like, pretty much true, and he's been able to play as long as he can. Unfortunately, as sad as it is, like, Deshaun Watson is judged by his play on the football field than by his character off it, and it should
Yeah.
never be that way. And that, like, if he actually did do these things, he should be punished in like a way that every other person would be. But
which is not the case, like you said, for these big stars, big names. It's not the case, which is
yeah,
unfortunate.
it's to me, it's terrible to the victims because like
it's basically not saying it's without saying it. It's giving like these big name guys almost a pass, which is I think it's horrible.
It's dismissing the torture and the trauma and the PTSD that the victims go through.
Yep.
And they have to see, because he's such a public image, they have to see and live with him like constantly in their face because he is such an image, and it's just kind of like terrible and disgusting. But
I agree. So then last topic, we'll just touch on this briefly. We got MLB opening day. Any notes on that? I think real quick, sorry. I know I just cut you off. Real quick, I think out of the 4 sports teams for the 2021-2022 season, Tigers have the best chance to be contenders in anything.
Yeah, I don't think any of them have a chance, but
no, I think the Pistons are in a rebuild, and I think they're actively, you can see that they're rebuilding. I think
the Lions are going to be a bottom 4 team.
Yep.
The Red Wings are a bottom 4 team.
Yep.
Tigers.
Yep.
Also a bottom 4 team.
Well, I think the Tigers have a chance. I think they got a strong. I take this with a grain of salt. A strong.
They're years away.
Starting 5 pitching wise lineup. I think their pitchers are okay. They've been dealing kind of.
We'll see. I still don't think it's a competent big league 5.
Okay. So then we'll just go quick favorite. I don't know if you've even watched any have you watched any baseball?
No, I haven't, but I can give you like who I think is going to win.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I have my 2 teams basically locked who I think are going to be. I think the Dodgers for sure.
Yeah.
I think the Yankees also could be up there.
Yeah.
Who else were you thinking?
I'm thinking it's in the NL. It's going to be the Dodgers versus the Padres.
Okay.
And in the AL, it's going to be a 3-team race between the Yankees, the Houston Astros. They're going to be much better, I think. And who else? I had another team in mind.
I totally forgot about the Padres, by the way. I think they're very good.
Padres are going to be sick.
Yeah.
The NL is definitely, I think, better than the AL. Like, I don't think any of the teams in the Central are legit contenders. Like the White Sox will be all right.
White Sox, Twins. I think Twins will be worse than they were last year, though.
I think they're going to win the division still.
Oh, I mean, I'm not saying that. I mean, Cleveland will be the most surprising team to see them go from. They've been pretty good for these past couple of years to.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll be a meh.
Yeah, they're going to be very meh. Yeah, and then in the AL East, the Red Sox are still not quite there yet. I think the Rays took steps back.
Yep.
No, they were just in the World Series last year.
Blue Jays, you can make a case for.
Blue Jays are on their way up. I don't think they're there yet. The Orioles are still terrible. And then in the West, I think Seattle is still not good. I think Houston's the best team in that division. The Angels are still not there yet as much as they should be. Oakland's a playoff team, but not a contender.
And then the worst team in the division, I think at least, is the Rangers.
Yeah, the Rangers suck. I think it's I honestly think it's Houston and the Yankees in the AL, and I think it's the Padres and the Dodgers in the NL. I think.
Okay. Yeah, no, I rock with that. I'm rocking with that. I'm trying to look and see if anyone made like big moves that would put them as contenders. Not really.
I mean, the Phillies should be better. I don't think they're really there yet.
What about the Marlins?
The Marlins are only slightly above a rotten piece of pizza. In terms
That's funny you just said that. Connor just brought me down some pizza. So yeah, we just wanted to touch on that real quick. You got anything else you want to talk about?
No, man, we got more basketball to talk about after tonight.
Our next show. Tell the viewers about our next show.
The next show is going to be live in person. The fellas are going to be together. Very rare opportunity. But you will get to hear us live. Hopefully it's a little better. I think, sometimes on the Zoom call, it's a little harder to have a back and forth conversation at times. So I'm excited to see you in person.
And if we're feeling it, if this is a total, if we're feeling it, I was thinking maybe when we go play a round of golf, we could get it on. We could put some golf clips up there.
Sure. Yeah.
Get a little Sandbagger Invitational.
Yeah. We'll get it in there.
That's all I got, though. I mean, we'll be back very soon this week with those games.
We'll be back hopefully end of this week, early next week with your next episode. We love you guys. We're going to get into more D3 stuff, obviously.
After this tournament kind of settles.
Baseball and softball is going strong. Lacrosse is going strong. We haven't forgotten about you guys, but we wanted to talk about the big stuff, the NCAA tournament and football free agency, and obviously baseball starting up this week. So we just wanted to give you a little pro sports talk before we get into everything else later in the week. So thank you guys. This is Connor here with my host, B-Dog. And unless you got anything to say, B-Dog, we out.
B-Dog does not. Peace.